Hey everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Unknown. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Olivia Reyes.
You know how sometimes a mystery just grabs you and won't let go?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's exactly how we feel about the Phoenix Lights. It's episode 20 for anyone keeping track.
A truly massive and strange UFO sighting right over a major city.
And we're going deep into it today, using the report as our guide.
It's more than just the size that's fascinating, though.
What else makes it so intriguing?
The sheer variety of witnesses, the unanswered questions.
Right.
And it happened at a time when people mostly whispered about UFOs.
Not like the open discussions we have today.
Exactly.
Picture this. A normal night in Phoenix, Arizona. People are out and about.
I can picture it.
And then, bam, around 8 p.m., the reports start flooding in strange lights in the sky.
And not just little twinkling dots either.
Oh, no. This was something else entirely.
The report describes these lights in a giant V shape.
Huge, like a massive boomerang across the sky.
Witnesses said it was unlike anything they'd ever seen.
Makes you wonder what they were thinking at that moment.
I know, right?
And get this. The witnesses weren't just, a few random people.
Let me guess. We're talking everyday folks' families.
You got it. Yeah. And then add in police officers on patrol, even pilots in the air.
Wow. So many different perspectives.
All seeing something out of the ordinary that night.
That's what makes this so compelling. And then there's Fife Symington.
The governor of Arizona at the time?
The one and only. At first he kind of laughed it
A
off.
whole aliens angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, politicians.
Right. But here's the twist. Years later, he comes forward and says he saw them too.
No way.
Yes, way. He even described the lights as otherworldly.
Talk about a plot twist.
Makes you think, what did he really see that changed his mind?
And it makes you think about the timing, too. The late 90s, the world was on the edge of a new millennium.
Everyone was looking ahead, but also fascinated with the unknown.
I remember those vibes. UFO sightings seemed to be everywhere.
And people were demanding answers.
Governments were under pressure.
Definitely, the report actually compares it to another famous case.
I wonder if I know this one.
The Rendlesham Forest incident over in England back in the 80s.
Ah, yes. Military personnel, strange lights, a forest near an airbase.
Bingo. Multiple credible witnesses. A mystery near a populated area.
Cases like those really push for more transparency.
About what governments knew about UFOs.
Like they were holding back information.
Exactly.
Okay, back to Phoenix. The report says the first sightings actually started a bit earlier.
Earlier than 8 p.m.
Yep. Around that time, but in Henderson, Nevada.
Henderson? That's just outside of Las Vegas, right?
You know your geography.
Yeah.
And the witnesses there described that same V-shaped object moving silently across the sky.
Silent. So strange. Almost like it was on a mission.
And about 15 minutes later, around 8:40 p.m., reports start popping up in Paulden, Arizona.
Halfway between Vegas and Phoenix.
Whatever it was on the move.
Heading south.
So then Phoenix is next.
Exactly. Between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m., Phoenix takes center stage. The heart of the event.
2 whole hours. And the report really drives home the scale of it all.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of people all over Phoenix seeing this thing in the sky.
It's hard to even grasp that many people witnessing the same event.
I know. Some described it as at least a mile wide, just dominating the night sky.
Just picture that. Looking up and seeing something that immense just silently gliding above you.
Gives me chills. And that silence, that's another detail that really stands out. You'd think with something that massive moving through the air, there'd be some kind of sound, a roar, or whoosh.
Like breaking the sound barrier or something?
But nope. The reports consistently say it was completely silent.
That's what makes it even weirder.
For sure.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. Around 10 p.m., things take another turn, a new chapter.
What happens?
People start seeing different lights, stationary orbs just hovering over the city.
Hold on. So not part of that giant V thing?
Nope. These were separate, like a whole new act in this guy's show.
So now we've got a V-shaped object, silent movement, and glowing orbs.
What a night in Phoenix.
An unforgettable night for sure. And now the big question is, what were people actually seeing?
All right, so we've got this massive event, thousands of witnesses, and more questions than answers.
Time to break it down.
What are some of the explanations out there?
Well, the report goes through a bunch of theories.
Including, I'm guessing, the official explanation from the U.S. Air Force.
Of course. But even that one's got a twist.
Really? Usually the official explanation is the least interesting part.
True. But A few years after the Phoenix Lights, the Air Force claimed those stationary orbs we mentioned.
Those glowing balls of light just hanging in the air.
Yeah, they said they were just flares, military flares dropped from A-10 Warthog aircraft.
Like during a training exercise?
Exactly. They were supposedly doing training at the Barry Goldwater Range.
So case closed then.
Not so fast. The report points out that flares don't usually form those neat formations.
And that there's no record of large aircraft formations in the area that night either.
Precisely. Which leaves a lot of room for other explanations, some more believable than others.
Alternative theories. I'm all ears.
Of course, we have to start with the most popular one.
Aliens.
Bingo. The report definitely looks at that hypothesis. The sheer size of that V-shaped thing, the silence, the weird movement.
It ticks all the boxes.
It's like something straight out of a movie.
But the report also brings up a theory that's a little more down to earth.
Go on. I'm intrigued.
What about some kind of classified military aircraft?
Oh, like a secret project? I can see that.
Maybe a test flight of super advanced technology? Something so stealthy it'd make our current jets look like toys.
There were definitely whispers about experimental aircraft back then, even large silent airships being developed.
Wow, so we've got aliens, secret government projects. What other ideas are out there?
Well, the report touches on some less conventional ones, too.
Oh, do tell.
Some researchers proposed it could have been a natural phenomenon, like an atmospheric anomaly that messed with people's perceptions.
Like a giant mirage. Interesting.
Right. It's a bit out there.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, stranger things have happened.
True enough. But whatever the explanation, it's clear the Phoenix Lights had a big impact, not just in Arizona, but worldwide.
Absolutely. The report talks about how this event really kicked off a public fascination with UFOs.
And ramped up those calls for government transparency.
It became a symbol of this distrust a lot of people felt toward official explanations, especially about the unexplained.
Like there was a cover-up or something.
And this wasn't just a small group of UFO enthusiasts. It was everyday people, politicians, even scientists, all starting to question the narrative.
Makes you think about Governor Symington's change of heart. The report brings him up again, remember?
From skeptic to believer, that definitely added fuel to the fire.
It's one thing when regular folks claim to see something extraordinary.
But for a high-ranking official to come out and say, yeah, I saw it too, and it wasn't anything we know about, that's a game changer.
Totally changes the story. And the report suggests that maybe it wasn't just what he saw that influenced him.
You're thinking public pressure, maybe even a genuine shift in his beliefs.
It makes you think about the psychological effect something like this can have, both on individuals and on society as a whole.
No doubt. His story shows how a seemingly isolated event can ripple outwards, especially in a time of instant communication.
And a growing distrust of authority.
Exactly. And the Phoenix Lights are a perfect example of that. This wasn't just some local news blurb. It became a global phenomenon.
Still talked about to this day.
Sparking debates and speculation that haven't died down.
Even with all the theories and investigations, the core question remains, what really happened that night in Phoenix?
We have the official explanations, which many find unconvincing.
Then there's this whole range of alternative ideas.
Some plausible, some pretty far out there.
So where does that leave us?
Well, the report doesn't pretend to have all the answers. It really just encourages us to think critically about it all.
About the evidence, different viewpoints, the limits of our understanding.
Right. It's a reminder that sometimes the most interesting mysteries are the ones that defy simple answers.
And as we keep digging into the Phoenix Lights, it's important to keep that in mind. You know, it's amazing to think about how different the whole UFO conversation is now compared to back in 1997.
Back then it was like, shh. Did you see that? Now it's on the news. Congress is talking about it.
Even the Pentagon's involved.
That's a whole new world.
The report talks about this shift, how the Phoenix Lights and other big cases really brought UFOs into the mainstream.
People were like, okay, we're not ignoring this anymore. We need answers.
It challenged that old idea that anyone into UFOs was just, a conspiracy nut.
Right. Now you have scientists, pilots, government officials saying, hey, there's something weird going on here.
Like the stigma's finally fading and serious research is happening. Which reminds me of all those blurry videos and photos from the Phoenix Lights.
Oh yeah, the grainy footage. It's almost painful to watch now.
We have such amazing cameras now, but back then it was all shaky camcorders.
Right. Makes you wish we could go back with today's tech.
Well, actually, the report mentions that some researchers are doing just that. They're using modern image analysis to re-examine that old footage.
Seriously. That's so cool. Imagine what we could learn with today's tools.
Maybe enhance the resolution, identify light sources, track movement more accurately.
It would be incredible to get a clearer picture of what those witnesses saw.
It could back up some theories, or maybe show us something totally unexpected.
Exactly. It just shows that even after all these years, there's still so much we can learn from events like this.
That's what makes the Phoenix Lights so fascinating. It's not just about lights in the sky. It's this ongoing search for knowledge, trying to understand the unknown.
It really is. And it makes you think about how we approach these topics in general.
How do we know what's real? How do we balance being skeptical with, being open to new possibilities?
The report really hits on that. It encourages us to look past the sensational stuff and really dig into the details. Think about different perspectives. Except that maybe there's more to the universe than we think.
It's about embracing the mystery without jumping to conclusions.
Well said.
So we've talked about the theories, the evidence, the impact, how the UFO discussion has evolved. But let's go back to the heart of it all, the witnesses.
The people who saw it firsthand.
The report has a whole section on their stories. It highlights how their experiences, their emotions, are what make this case so powerful. These weren't just people watching from a distance. They were deeply affected by what they saw.
I can't even imagine. Seeing something that defies explanation, something that changes your whole understanding of the world.
It would be life-changing. And the report reminds us that these weren't just random people. We're talking pilots, police officers, the governor of Arizona, all saying they saw something incredible.
That's a lot of credible witnesses.
And it wasn't just quick glimpses. We're talking prolonged sightings, multiple people confirming each other's stories.
That level of consistency is hard to ignore.
It goes beyond just seeing lights. The report talks about how some witnesses felt awe, others felt fear. Some even said they felt a connection to the lights, like they were being watched or communicated with.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer to the mystery.
It's not just what they saw, but how it made them feel, how it changed them.
That emotional side often gets lost in the search for a scientific answer. But it's so important to remember those human experiences. They remind us that these events aren't just abstract ideas. They have real consequences for the people involved.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder about the long-term effects, the psychological impact of seeing something you can't explain, something that challenges your reality.
I can only imagine.
The report doesn't go too deep into that, but it acknowledges that these events can have a huge and lasting effect on people's lives, their beliefs, their whole sense of themselves and the universe.
It really makes you think about all the unknowns out there, the mysteries we haven't even scratched the surface of.
The Phoenix Lights remind us that we still don't know that much about our world, about space, but what else might be out there.
It's humbling.
It really is. And I hope that's something our listeners take away from this episode.
I do too.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the Phoenix Lights.
We've covered a lot, explored different theories, looked at the evidence, talked about the bigger picture.
But as the report says, the mystery remains.
And maybe that's okay.
Maybe the journey of discovery, the exploration of the unknown is what matters most.
I think so.
So keep looking up, keep asking questions, keep that sense of wonder alive.
Don't let it fade.
Thanks for joining us on Beyond the Unknown. Until next time, stay curious.